Welcome to our 17-day journey across Portugal, an adventure that took us from the vibrant cities of the north, through the historic heart of the country, and down to the sun-soaked coastlines of the south. Over the next 3 videos, I'll share our personal experiences, practical tips, and highlights from each region. Portugal has so much to offer: medieval towns, colorful riverside cities, world-class wine regions, and some of Europe's most dramatic beaches. Whether you're drawn to history, food, or simply stunning landscapes, this country packs it all into a relatively small area. Getting around is surprisingly easy. Portugal's train and bus network links most major towns. English is widely spoken, especially in tourist areas, so communication is seldom a problem. As for money, credit and debit cards are accepted almost everywhere, but it's still handy to carry a little cash for small cafes, local markets, or rural villages where card machines aren't always available. Low on cash? No worries. ATMs are located all over the city. Join me as we share the first 6-day tour in the north, based in Porto, the first video of our 17-day Portugal tour. Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. After a 3-hour and 15-minute transit at Zurich Airport, we arrived at Porto Airport around 11:30 a.m. It was pouring outside, so we decided to take a boat ride to our hotel, which took 25 minutes. Our first stop was Avenida dos Olhados, Porto's grand central boulevard, lined with ornate buildings and crowned by the City Hall, which serves as the city's civic and cultural heart. Nearby is the beautiful McDonald, housed in a former Art Deco cafe with stained glass windows and chandeliers. Continuing our stroll along Santa Catarina Shopping Street, we soon reached the Chapel of Santa Catarina, an 18th-century church known for its blue and white azulejo tiles depicting scenes from the lives of saints. A short distance away is Mercado do Borreo, a historic traditional market known for its vibrant atmosphere and stalls offering fresh produce, flowers, meats, and local delicacies, within a 19th-century building. To truly experience the soul of Porto, I think this is the place to be. From the iconic salted cod, known locally as bacalhau, to the freshest seafood, mouth-watering cured meats, and irresistible pastries, every bite tells the story of the city's rich culinary tradition. As we continued exploring, we came across another gem, an 18th-century Baroque masterpiece, the Igreja de Santo Ildefonso, instantly captivating with its dazzling blue and white azulejo facade. As the sun began to set, we made our way to Porto Cathedral, where the square in front transformed into a breathtaking viewpoint, the Douro River, with the rooftops of Porto, and Vila Nova de Gaia bathed in a magical sunset. To wrap up the day, we headed to the Time Out Market, right next to São Bento railway station, for a delicious taste of Porto's local cuisine. The next morning, we made our way to São Bento railway station, a true masterpiece, famous for its grand atrium covered in more than 20,000 blue and white azulejo tiles that bring Portugal's history vividly to life. From São Bento station, we boarded the train to Guimarães, the start of our Day 2 adventure. The train ride took about an hour and 15 minutes. We booked our tickets online through the CP app, and once on board, an officer came around to validate them. Guimarães, a UNESCO World Heritage City in northern Portugal, is often called the birthplace of the nation for its beautifully preserved medieval heart and its pivotal role in Portugal's foundation. At the heart of the historic square stands the Church of Nossa Senhora de Oliveira, a striking landmark with origins dating back to the 10th century. From that same period, the Guimarães city walls are medieval fortifications that once safeguarded the birthplace of Portugal. After a brief 10-minute walk from the city walls of Guimarães, we arrived at the Castle of Guimarães, one of Portugal's most iconic medieval fortresses, built in the 10th century. The castle is open to visitors for an admission fee of €5. Tickets can be purchased online at the Ducal Palace ticket office, or conveniently via the QR code available at the entrance. Our final stop was Santos Passos Church, an 18th century Baroque Catholic church and one of Guimarães' most striking landmarks. With our walking tour of Guimarães complete, we journeyed back to Porto. As night fell, we brought the day to a close by savouring a traditional Portuguese dinner, the perfect finale of the day. Day 3, a day trip to Braga, a city north of Porto. We boarded the train at São Bento railway station and, after an hour and 5 minutes, we arrived at Braga station. After just a 5-minute walk, we reached the entrance of the historic centre, greeted by the iconic 18th century Arco de Porta Nova. Braga is famous for its countless churches, so much so that it's often called the Rome of Portugal. Shortly after, we reached Santa Maria Cathedral, also known as Sé de Braga. Built in the late 11th century and consecrated in 1089, it is the oldest cathedral in Portugal, predating the nation itself. Blending Romanesque, Gothic, and Baroque styles, it also houses the tombs of Portugal's founders. Just behind the cathedral stands the Igreja da Misericórdia, a Renaissance church from 1562 later enriched with Baroque elements, renowned for its ornate facade. As we continued exploring Braga's historic centre, we came across the beautiful Igreja do Populo and the impressive City Hall. A few steps away, we found ourselves at the enchanting Garden of Santa Barbara, with its central statue and the medieval wall of the Archbishop's Palace rising behind it. Continuing our walk, we arrived at the Igreja dos Tesouros de São Francisco. Built in the late 17th century, this Baroque church stands out with its ornate facade and an interior filled with gilded woodwork and intricate carvings. Nearby is the Braga Tower, the last surviving keep of the medieval castle of Braga. A few steps further, we reached Braga Central Square, the Praça da República. This lively square blends centuries of history with modern flair, where elegant arches, a central fountain, now transformed into a dazzling Christmas tree, and colorful gardens create the perfect setting for the city's vibrant life. Right in front of Avenida Central Park stands the Basílica dos Congregados, a striking Baroque and Rococo church, one of Braga's true architectural masterpieces. From here, we stroll down Avenida da Liberdade, a lively boulevard lined with elegant facades, cafes, and shops, where the city's modern spirit blends seamlessly with its historic charm. At the end of the avenue, we reach the dazzling Palacio do Rei, an 18th century Baroque palace, its ornate blue tile facade standing as one of Braga's most iconic landmarks. Just steps away lies Lago Carlos Almirante, home to the famous Braga sign framed by the Hospital de São Marcos. Here too stands the Holy Cross Church, a magnificent 17th century Baroque and Mannerist masterpiece, with its richly carved facade. At a nearby bus stop, we boarded bus 83, paying cash on board, and rode up to the hilltop sanctuary of Bom Jesus do Monte, one of Braga's most iconic landmarks and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The sanctuary itself is free to visit, including the church and stairways. We started from the top so that descending the steps later would be easier. At the summit, the neoclassical church offers breathtaking views across the city and countryside. As we began our descent, the monumental Baroque stairway unfolded before us, a breathtaking zigzag of fountains, chapels, and sculpted details, guiding the eye upward in a dramatic display of faith and artistry. At the foot of the sanctuary, we were lucky to spot bus number 2 already waiting. With a quick cash fare paid on board, the ride carried us smoothly down to Braga train station. From there, we boarded the train back to Porto. As dinner time approached, the streets buzzed with energy, crowds gathered, eager to taste Portugal's famous francesinha. Since we already enjoyed this hearty dish earlier in Braga, we decided to try something different that night. On the menu for us, rustic bread toast, bacalhau served on bread, and the traditional Porto specialty, tripas. A whole new flavor adventure to end the day. Day 4, a half-day trip to Aveiro, a small coastal destination in central Portugal, just south of Porto. We boarded the train at São Bento railway station and, after an hour and 15 minutes, we arrived at Aveiro train station. Stepping out of the station, we turned left and walked about 7 minutes toward the red brick Pereira de Campos factory, once a ceramics hub, now a cultural landmark. Just beside it runs the Cojo Canal, one of Aveiro's historic waterways. Along the way, we passed the Aveiro sign, a perfect spot to pause for photos and soak in the city's welcoming vibe. From there, we walked toward the Aveiro Cathedral and the Aveiro Museum. A few steps away stood Costa da Santa Zita, a beautiful 19th century building that reflects the city's aristocratic past. Continuing our walk, we arrived at Aveiro City Park, a peaceful green space dating back to the 19th century, with shady trees, small lakes, and sculptures scattered among the gardens. A stroll through the park felt like pure relaxation. From the park, we made our way back toward the lively canals, where colorful Molicero boats glided past Art Nouveau facades. We continued our walk through the city center and towards the Canal dos Boteiros. Our walk led us to one of Aveiro's most striking landmarks, the circular pedestrian bridge. From here, the view opens up in every direction. Two canals meet beneath our feet, the water alive with fish and boats, while the city's elegant houses frame the horizon. That completed our half-day tour in Aveiro, and with that, back to Porto we went, ready for the next adventure. With just a few more hours before nightfall, we set out to explore Porto further. Our first stop, the Clérigos Church, a Baroque masterpiece by Nicola Nasoni. Its 75-meter bell tower dominates the skyline, offering breathtaking views across the city. Just opposite, the University of Porto, and right here, the iconic Porto sign, a favorite spot for photos. A few steps away, we arrived at our second stop, the Carmel Church. With its ornate Baroque facade and stunning azulejo-covered side wall, it's one of Porto's most photogenic landmarks. And tucked right beside it, almost hidden, is the 1-meter wide house separating Carmel from the Carmelitas convent, a quirky detail that makes this corner of Porto unforgettable. Leaving the ornate Carmel Church behind, we wandered down through the heart of Porto, past cafes and colorful buildings, until we arrived at our third stop, the magnificent Luís I Bridge, standing tall as one of Porto's most iconic landmarks. Just ahead, we spotted the remains of Porto's old city wall, history blending seamlessly into the modern skyline. Standing on the Luís Bridge, the 360-degree panorama was nothing short of spectacular, Porto unfolding like a living postcard all around us, with the Douro River glistening below and Porto's colourful rooftops stretching out in every direction. Jardim do Moro, a hillside park, is another favorite among tourists, and the views from here are fantastic, only a short walk from the end of the bridge. As night fell, we ended the evening with dinner nearby, enjoying traditional Portuguese flavors while overlooking the river. Day 5, a day trip to the Douro Valley, one of Portugal's most breathtaking regions, celebrated for its dramatic landscapes and centuries-old winemaking tradition. Since the scenic spots are spread far apart, we decided to join a local tour. It was a small group of just 8, and the 2-hour ride from Porto included a 20-minute stop in the charming town of Almirante after the first 45 minutes. Departing from Almirante, we carried on with our journey. After another hour, we reached Pinhão. Our adventure continued with a 1-hour panoramic Douro River cruise on a traditional Revelo boat from Pinhão, gliding past terraced vineyards and picturesque villages.
In the world, the Douro. There are more than 250,000 hectares, 21 counties, 4 districts. The Alto Douro Vineyards, classified as a World Heritage Site, it has been producing wine for over 2,000 years and became the first protected region in the world in 1756, designated by the Marquess of Pombal.
Da nossa viagem. Esperamos que tenha gostado de navegar na nossa companhia.
We're getting to the end of our trip. We hope you have enjoyed traveling with us.
From Pinhão, we followed the renowned N222 scenic route towards Regua, a stretch celebrated as one of the most beautiful drives on earth, winding past terraced vineyards and the shimmering Douro River. Soon, we reached the stunning São Leonardo de Godefroy viewpoint, where the Douro River winds through endless terraces of vineyards beneath us. The morning sights were then followed by a hearty lunch provided by the tour, an authentic taste of the valley to match its unforgettable views. After lunch, we continued our ride to a renowned wine estate, where we sampled 3 local wines, each with its own character, capturing the essence of the Douro Valley's centuries-old winemaking tradition. And with that, our day in the Douro Valley came to a close, its beauty lingering with us as we made our way back to Porto. We ended the night with seafood rice, followed by a quiet evening walk, the perfect close to a memorable day. On day 6, the final day of our Porto-based tour, we continued exploring the city. On the way, we passed by the Church of St. Nicholas, its elegant facade standing quietly among the bustling streets. Soon after, we arrived at our first stop for the day, the Church of St. Francis, a Gothic masterpiece transformed by Baroque splendor. Inside, nearly 400 kilograms of gold leaf covers the altarpieces and pillars, creating a breathtaking glow. Exiting the church, we stepped into the adjoining chapel and museum, where centuries of devotion are preserved in art and relics. Finally, we descended into the catacombs, where generations of Porto's history rest quietly beneath the church. Next, we made our way to Jardins do Palácio de Cristal, a romantic 19th-century garden that offers sweeping views over the Douro River. After lunch, we headed down to our third stop, Livraria Lello, often called one of the most beautiful bookstores in the world. Stepping inside feels like entering a fantasy. Its neo-Gothic and Art Nouveau design surrounds you with carved wood, intricate details, and a sweeping staircase that seems to float upward. Above, a stained glass skylight floods the space with color, casting a magical glow over the shelves lined with centuries of literature. There is a small admission fee to enter, which can be bought online in advance or at the entrance. Queues are common, but here's a tip: if you buy a book inside, the ticket price is deducted from your purchase. Before moving to our next stop, we decided to try 2 pastries that cannot be missed while in Porto. First, The savory codfish cake with cheese, or pastéis de bacalhau com queijo, crispy on the outside, with a rich, creamy filling that combines Portugal's beloved bacalhau with melted cheese. Then, the famous Portuguese tart, or pastel de nata, a flaky pastry filled with creamy custard, caramelized on top, and best enjoyed warm with a sprinkle of cinnamon. After a delicious pause, we made our way to our fourth stop, the Porto Cathedral, the city's most important religious monument. Inside, we discovered a fascinating mix of styles: the fortress-like Romanesque nave, a gilded Baroque altar, and cloisters lined with blue and white azulejo tiles that tell biblical stories in intricate detail. Next, just beside the cathedral, we explored the Episcopal Palace of Porto. Once the residence of the city's bishops, the palace impresses with its monumental Baroque staircase, grand ceremonial halls, and richly decorated interiors. That wraps up our 6 days in northern Portugal. Next, we'll head south into central Portugal, where Coimbra and Lisbon reveal a whole new side of the country. Stay tuned for part 2 of this journey. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.